Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. What time it is here, it's time for a beer. Cheers, everyone. Oh, yes, indeedy, that's very, very nice. And indeed, Friday, once again, it's rolled around again, hasn't it? You wake up on a Monday morning, inevitably with something of a hangover. Certainly that's the way things go in this household. And, the weekend seems a long, long way away, but, suddenly here it is. It's you have certain landmarks in the week. Monday is just something that you get through. Tuesday is, when you need to go out to the shops and something. Wednesday is the day the bins get emptied, and then Thursday or Friday Eve, as we call it in this house, you're kind of knocking on the door of the weekend. And once again, here we are. Hope you've all had a fantastic week. If I do a bit of coughing tonight, it's because my allergies are giving me a hard time at the moment. I'm not coming down with any kind of dreaded allergy or anything like that. Let's take a look, see who we've got in the chat. 97 souls in the room at the moment, so it seems, and I see that Rent to Kill. Oh, and now we're up to 110. Rent to Kill was first in, and then we got Rob Bald, Mark Kerno, Johnny Random, Grandpa Joe, wishing us all a happy weekend as well. Then who else we got? We got Farjon, we got Terry Day, we got Dave Fiendish, and Peter Nicholson. There's Anton, Ben, Allmark, PFY Guitars, Stephen Hedges there. So is John Mack, Michael Palmer, Edwin Toonan, and Theme Tunes. And then we've got Peter Collins and John Ross, Carl Tom. Peter Borthwick is in. I've got your email, Peter. I just haven't had a chance to reply to it yet. I've been busier than a fiddler's elbow all day. Then we've got Wayne Smith, Amadeus, and Ian Clark. Calby and the Rocco Cat, Paul Trainer, and Sean House. Then there's David Evans and Stratboy 999, Steve Entwistle. John Channing is in. So is Phil, Joe McMurray, David James, DJW, and we got Cylon Hybrid. Scrolling down, I see we've got Mickey Walnuts, Dav Arc 626. I hope I pronounced that right. Then there's Timbo and Peter S. And who else we got? We got 60s Man. And then going down a bit farther, we've got Matt Brillhart. Greetings from Kansas City. That's an exotic location to a red car boy like me. Greetings from Kansas City. Holiday weekend in the States. So off early today. Waiting to crack open a creamy effing pint of stout to listen to you this morning. It's never too early. It never is too early on when it's a day off, isn't it, mate? Then we have got Dr. Gomez 1, Vincent Brennan is in, and Chris Otterwell is there, and the Essex Cat. Brother Hawk is in. And who else we got? Let's keep scrolling. I see we've got Jimmy James, Colin Falcon, Carl Texper, Peter Shields, Martin Scholes. Is it Scholes or Scholes? I'm about to get it wrong, whichever way I jump on that one. Stephen Sproson, Timbo is in, and Andy Nisbet. Chickasheena, that's you in there as well, mate, and Nigel Arthur. Then scrolling down, I see we've got Pablo Hank, Gary Shaw, Stuart Young, Steve Cassidy guitar. We'll be talking about you later on, mate. Nathan is in, and so is Adam Sand, Russell Gibson, Dave Stevens, Triple Distilled, Mark Greening, J Hull 10. Dennis Flock is in from Chicago. You have no idea. When I start seeing locations like Kansas City, New York City, Chicago, these are places I've only ever seen on television, usually in kind of cop shows and things like that, and in movies, and it's very humbling that you turn up here to my little virtual abode to have a beer with me every Friday. It's, thank you, everyone. And then there's Stevie Mack, Craig Stamen, Jeff Crouch, and who else we got? We got David Collins, GRB Aquatics, Pete Benoit, Bill Mumbo, X-Large, I'm Not Creative, James Reeves is in, and then we've got Curtis Lee, then Stratman Do 87, asking me what picks I use. I am a devotee and have been for many a year of the Jim Dunlop Jazz 3. I use these for everything. I use them for electric guitar, acoustic guitar. Even when I'm playing bass with a pick, normally I play bass with fingers, but when I use a pick on a bass, it's one of these that just seem to just kind of be right for me for some reason. And then we got Adrian Wotton, we got The Time Prophet. I think I already said you, didn't I? Steel Horse 75, and who else we got? We've got, where did that go? Mott the Hoople 2010. Feeling quite chuffed tonight. Ordered a B-stock Faisley Finneker from Baxter the other night and can't wait till it arrives. I thought they'd sold out ages ago, mate. We're going to be talking about Faisley guitars as well this evening as well, because today, because I have to ask some advice from you chaps. Then we've got Rick Beato being in touch yet? Is that to do? I think I saw something where he was talking about using a Dunlop Jazz 3. No, I don't think Mr. Beato knows that I exist. I'm very much small fry compared to him. So I think that's pretty much everybody. Oh, there's Pooh Ninja and Shane Allen, and Run by 7426. And whoever else is in the chat, you're all very, very welcome here. I hope you're having a fantastic Friday, and I hope you've got a beer in your hand. Yes, now I'm going to tell you what's coming up on the channel in a moment. But first of all, I saw, just as I was scrolling through the chat there, someone was asking about Chip Young. He hasn't been in for a while. He sent me an email this week apologising for the fact that he's been AWOL. And he's got a guitar for sale. So if anybody's interested in buying an Epiphone Sheraton, which is in pretty much mint condition, then get in touch with me, jrguitartuition@gmail.com. Or you can use the contact form on my website, and the link to that is in the description for all of my videos. But jrguitartuition@gmail.com is where you'll find me. Get in touch with me if you're interested in Chip's Epiphone Sheraton. He is, I would say, though, reluctant to trust it to a courier firm or the postal system. So it's a local pickup job only, I'm afraid. And he's in the northwest of the UK in Warrington. If that's within easy travelling distance to you and you want to grab yourself an Epiphone Sheraton, well, just you know what to do. Drop me an email and I'll put you in touch with Chip. So that's that, and now I'll get on to talking about what's coming up on the channel this week. We have another Saturday video. I've been working my way through those Faisley guitars that Bax Music sent me to review, and it is the I can't remember the model name, but it's like if you saw the unboxing video, it's the kind of blue ocean fade twin humbucker Telecaster style guitar. Lovely guitar. I really did take to that one in a big way because I like twin humbucker Telecasters, to be honest with you. So you're going to be seeing that. Oh, Edwin Toonan. Edwin, I'm on the Heineken again this week. Thank you so much, mate. Let's put you up on screen. You're a gentleman, sir. Greetings from Amsterdam, the city of Heineken. Cheers, mate. Yes, indeed. It was the Heineken that was on offer this week. Indeed. A case of 15 for, how much was it? It was a couple of quid off. I can't remember what it was, but it was they had a deal on, so I grabbed a couple of cases, and we'll see if they last the weekend, shall we? I wouldn't bet on it. Anyway, yes, so it's a Faisley guitar review tomorrow. That goes out at midday UK time. Then on Sunday, rather special video. I'm sure many of you watch his videos anyway, but I grabbed hold of Steve Cassidy of Steve Cassidy Guitar, and yeah, we just have a bit of a chat and a gossip on Zoom, and recorded it, and and that's the interview, if you like, that's going out tomorrow. Steve has a fantastic channel, and if you're not watching his content already, you're missing out, because he puts some really good stuff out. So that is Sunday's video, a bit longer than usual because it's a bit of a conversation. Oh, we have a jam as well. We have a jam. There's we kind of trade a few licks in that video. Then Monday is, as usual, a solo analysis, and this is another one that I did for me. I did this one because I wanted to do this solo. Sometimes you do a solo analysis and you think, yeah, this is a massive tune, very popular, and I reckon I can do a good video about this particular guitar solo, and maybe it'll get maybe that'll be what gets me a lot of clicks and a lot of views. This one, I have no such illusions. This is just a Dave Edmunds song that I remember from the early 80s that I absolutely fell in love with at the time, and remembered as a child as an adolescent really, trying to learn the guitar solo and not getting anywhere close. So I thought I'd revisit it and see how well I did. A little bit of a poser for you here. It's a Dave Edmunds song, but it was originally written by Bruce Springsteen. So a million bonus points to anyone who knows which particular song that is. It was a song that Bruce wrote for the River album, but it never made the final cut, and he ended up giving it to Mr. Edmunds, and Dave did a great version of it, and it got absolutely nowhere in the hit parade, as I think we still called it back then, the top 40. So that's Monday's video. Then on Tuesday, I would say the most commonplace thing that I get asked for as a guitar teacher is, how do you learn the fretboard? Well, on Tuesday, I'm going to tell you. Basically, it's 5 ways that the fretboard kind of revealed itself to me. And I did it in a way I kind of remember. I don't remember ever sitting down to try and learn where the notes were on the fretboard. It just seemed to kind of unfold as I was doing other things. It seemed to just kind of present itself to me. So I think the reason why a lot of people get frustrated with the length of time it takes to kind of memorize where notes are on the neck is because it's that old adage, a watched pot never boils. And the way that I did it, hopefully it'll make sense to you chaps as well. So it's basically 5 little tips for learning the fretboard. And Wednesday, yet another viewers' question video. Do you realise we've been doing this over a year now? I should have marked the occasion. Actually, no. Is it over a year now? I'm not sure, but anyway, I've just made episode 53, which will be going out in October sometime. So we're coming up to a year, I guess. And the questions keep coming in. And again, another question that I often get asked is, I've learned all of the scale boxes and the pentatonic shapes or the major scales or whatever, and all it ever sounds like is I'm just plodding through a scale. How do you turn a scale into a solo? Well, this is by a long way, not the first video I've done on this subject, but the question keeps getting asked, so I'm going to keep on answering it and hopefully bring perhaps a different perspective to it each time. That is Wednesday's video. And then on Thursday, we are looking at a guitar which is often described as the Fender Les Paul, the Fender FMT HH Telecaster. It's a longer title than that, special edition, this, that, or the other, whatever it's called. But basically that set neck, mahogany, twin humbucker Fender Telecaster. That is the guitar that's in for review on Thursday. Just a first impressions look at it, and then there'll be a full review, kind of at a later date. So that is what's going on the channel this week. And someone has already, The one I can see here, apologies if anybody else has already got it. The Dave Edmunds song is indeed From Small Things. From Small Things, Big Things Come. Written by Bruce Springsteen. And, Grandpa Joe's got it as well. Rob Ball is saying Dave Edmunds peaked with the Stray Cats. A lot of people have got the... I thought it was a more obscure track than that, because I remember being bitterly disappointed at the time, as you are when you're a kid, that your favourite song didn't get into the top 10 or whatever it was, and I don't think it did. It was, and it flopped as a single, but it's a great album, by the way, DE 7th. And yes, Stuart Young's agreeing with me. Oh, plenty of people. Not Girls Talk, Stephen Hedger. And I've already done Queen of Hearts. Might have to do Girls Talk, because that's a nice little solo on that. What are you saying, Time Prophet? I would like you to try to make a video trying to do a solo that is too hard for you. Well, there's plenty of those, mate. There's plenty of those, And basically, anything which involves a lot of fast alternate picking, I can do it up to a certain degree, but when you see someone like what's he called, the American chap, Ben Eller, when you see some of the kind of picking that he does, you just think, well, yeah, okay, you've got that covered. I'm going to kind of stay over here and do my thing. So anything that involves fast alternate picking is always going to be a struggle for me. It's just one of those things. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our kind of things that we do not find comfortable or accessible. For instance, when was the last time you heard Gary Moore sweep picking? When was the last time you heard let's think. When was the last time you heard Stevie Ray Vaughan doing, kind of shreddy tapping or anything like that? So it's, it was a big realization for me that relatively recently, I would say in the last 10, 15 years, considering how long I've been playing the guitar, that you don't have to be, the master of all trades. You can be, you can just kind of carve out your own niche, and hopefully that's what I've done. So there you go. Oh, see, we've got Lefty Pick in. How are you, mate? Let's see what else we've got going on in the chat. Steve Cassidy is saying, love those Staropram and pint glasses. Did you borrow it from a pub? That's where I got mine. There is a pub around the corner from me. The Cleveland Hotel, it's called. A bit of a dive, it has to be said. But they brew their own beer there, which is a nice pint, actually. The Red Scar Brewery, it's called. All of the smokers kind of sit out on the steps out front and kind of smoke their cigarettes and drink their beer. And somebody had obviously kind of finished his beer and just while he was out having a smoke, and left the glass on the steps. And I thought I was there the next morning walking the dog, and I thought, thank you very much. Don't mind if I do. And that's how I came to get this. And my rationale is that the landlord of that pub should have he obviously didn't do a thorough enough check of his premises before locking the door. So I didn't kind of take it. But by leaving it out there, he was kind of giving me tacit permission, is the way I look at it. Anyway, that's I'm not sure that would stand up in front of a constable, but that's my story, officer, and I'm sticking to it. And the Lamb is saying Mark Knopfler taps a single note at the start of Calling Elvis, the only time he's ever tapped a note on record. That is next level trivia, that is, mate. I would never have known that. But here's another one I'll throw back at you. Tell me, if you can, the only instance of Mark Knopfler, or the only one at least that I know, the only instance of Mark Knopfler using a plectrum. Because I'm absolutely certain that he used a plectrum on this particular track. And we'll just let that ruminate for a minute or two, and then I'll check to see if anybody's. Oh, there we go. Maiden Man 74, Espresso Love. Indeed, yes, you can see. You can see on the Alchemy Live video, which I no longer have. I thought I had it on DVD, but it was saved as a download in my old Sky TV box. But we don't have Sky TV anymore, mainly because you get an introductory deal, and then when that deal's over, the price goes up, and it goes up a little bit more, and it just inches up. And we were paying like thick end of £70 a month for a TV package. And for the amount of TV that I watch, I thought, this is ridiculous. And, Jackie watches just tends to watch stuff that's available on Freeview anyway. So, it's I no longer have the Alchemy gig, but I'll grab it again at some point from somewhere. But yeah, on Espresso Love, on that Alchemy Live thing, you can clearly see him strumming with a plectrum rather than his usual kind of plant two fingers down there and play like this. So well done. I thought that was nice top, John. That's living all right. Yes, Auf Wiedersehen, Pet, for our international viewers, a classic British TV sitcom of the 80s, which they've sort of revived it again in the early 2000s. Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm reading this in my head. Theme for a show. Most boring concert ever attended. Mine was Diana, Mrs. Costello Crawl in the Auckland, was it? Otero Centre. I fell asleep halfway through. I do like Diana Krall. She's got that kind of husky voice, hasn't she? It's when I'm in that kind of mood, I'll either listen to what's the album? I think it's called Quiet Nights. That I've got of hers, and her and Madeline Peru, and my current kind of go-to for when I'm in that sort of frame of mind is Nora Jones' first album, Come Away With Me. I think that was her first album. That is just an astonishingly good album. I'm probably going to do a solo analysis from there at some point. It's just perfection, really, for that sort of style. But I can tell you now the most boring concert I've ever been to, and I hate to say it because I'm a massive fan of Hank Marvin, and it was Hearing the Shadows when I was a toddler that made me kind of realise that music wasn't all, the wheels on the bus go round and round. That music could make you feel all warm and happy and fuzzy inside. When I first heard Apache on the radio as a kid. But I saw the Shadows at Middlesbrough Town Hall. It was either 1989 or 1990, sometime around then. And you might as well have stayed at home and listened to the records, because they would, everything was not perfect. And it was just all a bit sterile. And they had a comedian, a band who had a comedian as the support act, a comedian who he won kind of opportunity knocks or new faces or something in the 70s, a guy called Dave Wolf, if anyone remembers him. And he was, all right, I suppose. But there was just no electricity, no atmosphere. There was nothing really that that made it special, which was disappointing, really. Deco Dude is saying, have you ever used the ashtray cover on a telly? Love mine. It's always on. I used it as an ashtray in my days as a smoker. How long have I been off the tobacco now? Because I mean, obviously I use this, but it was me doctor who actually put me onto these. Back in about, I think that was 2008, when my doctor said to me, have you heard of these things called electronic cigarettes? Because I'd just been in and had that kind of, you get to a certain age, don't you, where you go to your doctors and, you're in for a telling off. and how's the smoking, Mr. Robson? I said, I'm struggling a bit, to be honest with you. I'm trying the patches and the gum. She says, there's these electronic cigarettes, that don't have the carcinogens in them. And, okay, so I'll give it a try and never look back. So there you go. It's doctor's advice. But, back when I had a Telecaster and, a tobacco habit, I would regularly use the bridge cover for that purpose. Oh, the Lamb. You are way ahead of me there, mate. Yes. I think he also used a plectrum on his Ovation guitar to play The Man's Too Strong on the 85 tour. Yes. And when you listen to the song, I'm hearing it in my head now. You can hear that is definitely plastic hitting the strings, isn't it? Let's have a look. Let's see what else we got. Let's have a quick look. The Lamb is saying, love the Alchemy concert, one of my absolute favourites. Got me playing guitar. It's just one of the, and it is like, I remember the disclaimer on the record sleeve saying, that this is absolutely live. What you hear is what happened on the night. No kind of studio retouching. Stuart Young is asking, are you going to give a Polyphia solo a lash? Well, no, basically. It's like, for the same reason as you are incredibly unlikely to see me doing a review or an unboxing or any kind of video about about a baritone guitar, for example. I have no interest in a baritone guitar. I have no interest in a 7-string guitar or a fan fret guitar or anything like that. Give me 6 strings, standard tuning, preferably Telecaster shaped, and a nice clean sound, a nice edge of breakup sound, and a nice kind of classic rock lead sound, and I'm happy. That's me. I'm a dinosaur, and you know what? I'm old enough to just not really care. So there we go. So no Polyphia solos, no Tosin Abassi solos, no 8-string guitars, no fan fret guitars, no baritone guitars. It's I like 6 strings and standard tuning. Thank you very much. Michael Purcell. Yes, I meant to mention that earlier. Dire Straits guitarist Jack Sonny has died. I saw that, was it yesterday, I think? And, he was, famous for being the other guitarist in Dire Straits. I think he was the 3rd rhythm guitarist they had, wasn't he? Starting off with David Knopfler. And then we had Hal Lindes, who you can see on the Alchemy video and here on the Alchemy album. Actually, great solo he played, Hal Lindes. He played on Two Young Lovers, which I did a solo analysis of many years ago. But yeah, Jack Sonny, he was the guitarist from sort of Brothers in Arms period, wasn't he? And he wasn't that old, really. He was in his early 60s or something. Just such a loss, and a great guitarist. When you heard him doing his solo stuff, he was or doing work with other people. He was much more than just a barcode strummer, which was essentially the gig that he had in Dire Straits. What you're saying there, Anton? I was going to ask your thoughts on the Fender Squire bass. Maybe know the answer now. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Rob Bald. Yes, I'm going to mention that, mate. It's only 5 weeks to Red Carmageddon. Is that what we're calling it now? Indeed, yes. I'll come back to that in a moment. But while I remember, I've had these Faisley guitars in to do reviews on. Well, one of them is what they're calling part of the project series, which is where they're kind of riffing a little bit and trying out new ideas to test the water, basically. Well, my contact at Bax Music, a chap called Rick, lovely bloke, has been in contact with me and said, ask your viewers if there's anything that they would like to see on future Faisley models. And well, my first response was, stainless steel frets. It's Faisley are, kind of going after the Harley Benton market. And, when you can buy Harley Bentons with stainless steel frets, I think Faisley need to seriously consider doing that. And in fairness, it is something that they've said they are going to take a look at. No guarantees, no promises, but they're looking at the feasibility of talking to the factories that they work with to see if they can do that. But if you chaps have any things that you would desperately like to see, on a Faisley guitar, something, because I'm going to say on a budget guitar. And by budget guitar, I mean sort of sub £400. Okay. Kind of, let's say from anything up to the price of maybe a Squire classic vibe. Any features you'd like to see on a guitar in that price bracket, drop them in the chat, and I can pass on your comments to Rick at Bax. Steve Cassidy is saying stainless steel frets and a 9.5 radius. Heaven, no one else does this. Yeah, fair enough, mate. I've got to tell you, I'm not that really. The fretboard radius doesn't really kind of get my juices flowing to that. I don't really have a preference as long as it's not. It's like neck profiles. I'm happy with pretty much any neck profile apart from a skinny Ibanez 80s, kind of shredder type neck. I find them incredibly tiring to play on. So anything else is fine. And same with neck radiuses. The only thing I really don't like is, the vintage Fender 7 1/4 inch radius. I just find that just feels a bit odd, a bit uncomfortable and odd, to be honest with you. Dennis is saying, I like your stand on guitars. How do you rate PRS guitars? Well, one of my favorite guitars, if I lean this way, is a PRS. It's an S2 Standard 24. It has got the most versatile set of sounds from two humbuckers. You can pretty much get everything out of that guitar. It'll sound like a Telecaster, it'll sound like a Les Paul, it'll sound like a Strat under the right conditions. Won't quite do the sort of quacky, Knopflery kind of Strat tones, but you can get pretty closer than you might think, mainly because the pickups are closer together, because of it being a 24 fret guitar. That is really a jack of all trades. I've always rated PRS guitars. The only thing I don't really like about the about any of them is I just don't like the bird inlays, and I don't like the sort of blingy kind of finish on a lot of them. It just looks a little bit too ostentatious for me. But that's a me problem, not a PRS problem. So I'm a massive fan. Is the answer. See a lot of people saying yes about the stainless steel frets. Stuart Young is saying, yeah, it was the quality of the fretwork that made Ert's reputation initially. Yeah, well, it certainly wasn't the quality of the pickups, was it? Rolled edge fretboard. Let me write a few of these down. So a lot of big ticks for stainless steel frets and rolled edges. Any particular models that you might be interested in seeing? A magic Gary Moore switch. I think I know what you mean, mate, but you can take that two ways. You know, I don't think there is a switch that makes you sound like Gary Moore, but there is. You can very easily install a switch that gives you that out of phase sound, and at least two of the phase leads that I've had with two pickups have had an accidental version of that. A Telly style guitar, Telly with P90s. There we go. Time Prophet likes skinny necks. Well, each to their own, mate. Oh, that took me a while, Ian. Apparently, the bloke who invented the knock knock joke has been given a Nobel Prize. Court taxi, yes, indeed. If I had a sample, I'd give you the dududumsh kind of drum thing here. You know, thank you very much. I'm here all week. Try the veal. You know, a Faisley T-style Telly bridge and P90 in the neck, like the Schecter PT. Yeah, well, we can put that on the list. What else we got? Yeah, Peter Nicholson, I'm with you on stainless steel frets. Peter Shields is saying, I love your PRS, John, and I'm not a massive PRS fan of PRS in general. Yours is wonderful, less fussy than most. Yeah, it's, well, I did a video about it about a year ago called The Perfect PRS. It's just the guitar I reach for most of the time now. Randy Upchurch is saying, not a PRS or Gibson fanboy. I prefer to keep it Fendery. Fair enough. Yeah, well, for many, many, many years, I would have agreed with you on that. You know, for me, you know, the idea of not owning a Stratocaster was like it's just you can't. How can you not own a Stratocaster? How can you not love a Stratocaster? And I just sort of went off them, and I can't pinpoint the day when I suddenly decided I didn't like Strats. It was just, well, I'm not really playing it anymore. And maybe the wind will change and I'll go back to them. I don't know, but at the moment I'm not in a hurry. Rent to Kill is asking, how is the lovely Dougal this week? Yes, me and Dougal had a little bit of a how can you put this? A little bit of a punch-up, basically. I didn't punch him, obviously, but he was trying to bite the bejesus out of me this afternoon. He has this thing for eating feathers. We live at the seaside. There are seagulls and therefore seagull feathers all over the place. And he wants to eat them, which is fine if it's just a little soft, fluffy one. But if it's one of the kind of the ones with a big kind of spiky quill coming out of it, you know, it's not going to do his giblets much good, is it? So I was frantically trying to get the feather out of his mouth, and he wasn't really up for the idea. So I was getting bitten, you know. And then I got the feather out of his mouth, and then he does what dog owners the world over will know as the zoomy, where he just runs round and round and round and round and round and round in circles at full pelt, just as his way of having a tantrum. So there we go. The Lamp is saying, it would be nice to have the frets polished. that initial scratchiness is always a bit unpleasant on the cheap guitars at first anyway, until you can play the burrs off. Yeah, so let's put that under fretwork. I'll just put fret polishing. The thing is, it's you can get rid of that scratchiness in 5 minutes. Take the strings off, and then like a fret rubber over the top of them or something. So it's not a lot of effort to get rid of it. So it would be nice if it came from the factory like that. Maiden Man, what you saying there, mate? Thanks for the Burst Booker review this week. It will save me a few quid, as I was going to pull the trigger on T490s, but realised I don't need them. Yep. Massive thanks to I'm Not Creative for sending me those lovely Burst Bookers. That saved me a considerable amount of money, because now I realise that, that's my Les Paul. With those Burst Bookers in it, that's mine now. That's not going anywhere, and I don't need an Eastman. I again, the PRS that you can see on the wall behind me and the Les Paul that you can't see, it's over there, and I'm too lazy to go and get it. Those are two of my favourite guitars now, and as I say, once upon a time, it was just an anathema to me. Let me kind of scroll down. Here we go. Let me scroll down to there. Yeah, the idea once upon a time of being a kind of humbucker guy, I was thinking, well, no, you got to have a Strat. It's got to be single coil, because you can, Now I'm completely the opposite, and I can't pinpoint the moment when it changed. I'm a Les Paul PRS kind of guy. When I want to use a Strat, or when I need that kind of Strat sound, I've got a beautiful Nashville Telecaster there that is, it kind of ticks that box. And the other thing I will say about that PRS there is absolutely bulletproof trem. Absolutely. Someone's asking how Dougal is. You can probably hear him in the background there. Dougal is having a bit of a woof, but he's downstairs and I'm upstairs, so that makes it the wife's problem. There you go. John Wilde is saying, have you ever tried the Gibson Nighthawk Les Paul Strat Cross? I haven't, actually, and it's been on my to-do list, for quite a while. Every time I get like a suitable amount of spare cash, kind of burning a hole in my pocket, I always go onto eBay and start having a look for a good deal on a Gibson, an Epiphone rather, Nighthawk, there's always been something that I've pulled back on. It's looking a bit kind of battered, or it's local pickup only and it's too far away, that kind of thing. So, but it's I would be amazed if I don't succumb to the appeal of the Nighthawk at some point. Michael Purcell is saying, would you like if a guitar brand would fit custom pickups for buyers? Well, yeah. I mean, it's now you mention it, mate. It's surprising that they don't, because you can spec up. You can spec up a car, for example, with particular tires, I guess, can't you? I don't know. I don't drive, but I imagine that's the kind of thing you can do. So yeah. That said, when you think about how a production line works, if anybody's ever worked in a factory, it would be a bit of a nightmare logistically for them to do on a production line. But for kind of high-end custom shop guitars, what you're saying there, Craig? My go-to guitar lately has been my HM Strat. I think it's because I've got to wrestle with the trem with that. when setting it up, I feel like I need to play it, but I do love it even though it has a locking trem. Yes, well, that was my first ever Fender I ever owned, was a heavy metal Strat in pink, and I was so proud of that guitar when I got it, because I've been, kind of languishing in the world of Hondo guitars and Encore guitars and Marlin Sidewinders and all those kind of nasty guitars from the nasty cheap guitars from the 70s and 80s. And after I left college and got a proper job, last one I ever had in 1988, I don't think it was with my first paycheck, but certainly very early on, I was off down to my local Fender dealership, and I wanted a locking tremolo and I wanted a Fender guitar, because I was. It was the 80s, and locking tremolos were the thing, weren't they? And I got myself a pink Fender heavy metal Strat. Yes. Not really a wise choice, but it's how you learn, isn't it? You learn by your mistakes. Kiesel supply custom pickups. Indeed, they do. I forgot about that. One of the few kind of high-end boutique guitars that I've ever played. Kind of that sort of ilk where you can think, yeah. Actually, I'm picking this up and I can really feel where the money has been spent. A student of mine, well, ex-student now, he's no longer living in this area. I think that's why but he used to come to the house for lessons. It was actually a carving. It was still branded as a carving. It was before they rebranded as Kiesel. He had a carving CT6 California double cut, half close your eyes. It looked like a PRS Custom 24 with a hard tail. What a beautiful guitar that was! It was just incredible. Somewhere from about I think about 2017. There's there's a video of me reviewing it. What we got there. On Road Again is saying, great videos this week. Do you have any more Workbench videos in the pipeline? The one you did, the paint fix on the Les Paul Custom was great. Have a great weekend. I do have such a video coming up. It's probably going to be, I'm going to think probably middle toward back end of October. I'm going to show you how to do rolled fretboard edges, basically. It is the easiest thing in the world to do. You just have to be brave enough, and all you need is one of these. The thought of taking a box cutter knife to your pride and joy may be a bit scary, but I'm going to guide you through it and show you how to do rolled fretboard edges. Disclaimer: this only works on guitars that don't have a thick kind of gloss finish on the neck. You can't do it on that, and you can't do it on bound necks either, or I wouldn't be brave enough to. But if you've got a neck which has got like a nice satin finish and an unfinished fretboard, then you can do this little dodge, and that will be coming up, as I say, in October sometime. Let's have a look. Do Faisley do a guitar with mini humbuckers? I think they do, because I saw it on Johnny's channel, Budget Guitar Show. They do, I think, a bolt-on, not Explorer, Firebird copy, and I believe that has mini humbuckers. So yes, I had. See, there's mini humbuckers. I'm a little bit vague on this. Are Firebird pickups mini humbuckers? I'm not sure. Because they're different mini humbuckers to the mini humbuckers that come in a Les Paul Deluxe, which is my first ever Gibson, actually, back in my college days. So I'm not sure. I will leave that. I'll throw that over to you. Have I ever tried vintage brand tellies? I'm quite liking the Icon series. I haven't. I've tried plenty of vintage brand guitars. Actually, yes, I have. Yes, I have. I tell a lie. A chap who's in the chat this evening, Michael Palmer, loaned me his vintage Jerry Donahue signature guitar. That was a great guitar, actually. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it sound like Jerry Donahue, but but yeah, vintage brand guitars. Whatever. Let me just talk about what I've owned of vintage brand guitars. I've owned a V100. I've owned, which is the Les Paul copy. I've owned a VS6, which is the SG copy. I've owned a V6, which is the Strat copy. And then if anyone remembers the Vintage Advance series, where there were kind of updated copies, where they kind of had features that weren't kind of period correct, but improved them anyway. I had the AV3, I think it was. It was part of the Advance series, and it was basically like a slightly offset 335 style guitar. I had one of those. I think that's all the vintages that I've owned. I don't think I've owned any others. The one thing I would say about vintage guitars is vintage as in the brand, is that the one fault I've found on all of them is that the volume control may as well be just painted on because you can't use it. That's been my experience on one of the things that I love to do is to kind of roll the guitar's volume down to clean up a dirty sound. And on vintage guitars, it never ever works particularly well. It's always just turns to mud. So you can you can install a treble bleed, but for the price of a capacitor and a resistor, we're talking pennies here. It wouldn't impact the price of the guitar. I just wish they would put that in at the factory. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Triple Distilled. I used to have a vintage Jerry Donahue telly, but I never found the humbucker setting that really sound like the humbucker. No, it didn't on the one I tried, actually. It was a usable sound, but it just didn't really sound like a humbucker. Michael Purcell, how about the Thomas Blue Strat by Vintage Brand? He has a mod on it. Never tried. Yeah. The only thing that puts me off that, though, is the relic-y kind of finish I believe it's got. I might be wrong. I think it does, because it looks like his kind of 61 Strat, I believe. Never been into relic guitars, and I don't think I ever will be. The only exception I would make is possibly for one of those Gibson Greenies. I might be tempted if I had, but never going to be able to afford one of those. Excuse me while I just pour this lubricant. There we go. Not a bad head. Not too flaky. Not too bad. That's to be said. The Heineken is always does give a nice pour. Like, what else we got to talk about? Let's have a look. Peter Shields. My bassist brother helped a well-known bass luthier produce a prototype. He then had a bass made to the exact same spec. He ended up with a prototype for the agreed fee instead as he preferred it. Well, fair enough, mate. Let's have a look. Who has the best hair, John Robson or Colin Guitarista? Well, I think the trophy has to go to Colin, because Colin has some hair as opposed to me. It's the thing is I could probably grow a head of hair back now, but back in about I think 2016, early 2016, I started getting really weird alopecia. I had it when I was a kid. And you know, I had like crop circles all over my head, and I just thought this looks ridiculous. So I kind of got the razor out and went for this look, and you know, it's just so much better. It is, you know, not having to kind of go to the barbers every month or thereabouts, and not having to, you know, worry about, you know, washing your hair or anything. Not that I ever did, you know. I mean, I'm a bloke. I don't use shampoo. I didn't ever used to use shampoo. It was just, you know, just step into the shower with a bar of soap and just, you know, scrub, basically. But you know, this is me now. This is the way I think I was always meant to look. Jimmy James saying my old profile pic, your hair beats Collins for luxuriousness. Fair enough. Aerodynamic hair. Is John's hair better than Phil McKnight's? Yes, we share the same. We share the same kind of look, I suppose. Wouldn't mind his number of subscribers, like. Let's have a look. The only hair John needs is hair metal. Here we go. Let's go and have a look. Scroll up through the chat, see what I've missed. Oh, Shane Allen. Blast from the past. My first guitar was a Marlin Sidewinder in electric purple. Yeah, I mean, I'm often unkind about the Marlin Sidewinder. I just had a bad one. I think it was just awful. And when I made a video about, you know, kind of horrible guitars, I included the Marlin Sidewinder, and a surprising number of people in the comments said that they still had one, and it was absolutely fantastic. They wouldn't part with it. Well, fair enough. My first ever guitar was a K steel string folk student acoustic from my mother's catalogue. And I had that about 2 or 3 months, and then graduated onto an electric guitar, a Woolworths Top 20. Now there's an awful guitar. Absolutely. I keep looking on eBay to try and find one, but you know, they're ridiculously collectible now, so they go for stupid money. Certainly money that I'm not prepared to pay for, you know, what I often describe as a collection of sharp edges held together with a guitar-shaped lump of plywood. So, but maybe I can get my hands on one. I don't know. I am kind of looking around all the time to see if I can find some budget guitar from the 70s, because I had that Yamato guitar in here that I was going to do all kinds of stuff with and try and, you know, which was an early 70s Les Paul copy. And as part of the modding process, I was going to do all sorts to it, but it died on the operating table. Let's say that. Basically, the plywood it was made out of didn't survive the drill when I was trying to install some bits and pieces on it, and it just crumbled like a meringue, basically. Dennis is saying, how about the Yamaha Revstars? Did you play with them? I had a Yamaha Revstar RSE 20, basically the entry-level Revstar. And it belongs to a friend of mine now because I sold it to a mate. And I had that and the Les Paul Tribute at the same time. And because they are both covering roughly the same sonic territory, I thought I'm going to have to kind of get rid of one of these. I can't really justify keeping them. I think that's wearing a bit thin now, because when you look at how many Telecasters I've got in this room. But basically, I did a video where I was deciding whether I was going to keep the Les Paul or keep the Revstar, and it was a very, very, very close run thing. Those Revstars are absolutely fantastic guitars. I will just add this disclaimer. The one that I had was fantastic. felt like, I mean, I think I paid about £400 for it, 400 plus change. And since then, people who've had them a number of people I've spoken to who have them have reported problems with the fretwork, like, kind of choking out and buzzy frets and stuff like that. So I don't know if there's been a problem at the factory or whether they've switched factories where they're making them or something, but hopefully that will get ironed out. Anyway, chaps, we are 59 minutes and 59 seconds in. We've just tipped over to the hour as I speak. So there is a freshly cooked batch of homemade curry waiting downstairs for me. So I'm going to go and get me laughing tackle round that. And go and drink some more beer, basically, because it's Friday, and that's what you do on a Friday. That's what I do on a Friday, at least. So thank you once again, all 193 of you, for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute bollocks for an hour. I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me, but for now, time, gentlemen, please.